Welcome to episode 2 of Hidden New England, where we'll be traveling to Chesterfield, New Hampshire to explore the grounds of Madame Sherri Castle and Forest. Madame Sherri was born in Paris, France in 1878, and it was there that she met her future husband, Angelo Macaluso, who was from New York City and had moved to Paris, France, being on the run, being associated with mobsters and bootleggers and those types of people. Got himself into some type of situation, he had to flee away to Paris. But he met Madame Sherri in 1909, and in 1911 the two decided to sail across the Atlantic and actually move back to New York City for Angelo, and moved to the first time to New York for the Madame. After settling back in New York for some time, the couple decided to open a hat shop, and it was through this they started mixing and mingling with some of New York's most elite and some of Broadway's most famous, and they actually got a gig designing costumes for some minor shows on Broadway, and eventually by the 20s were designing costumes for the Ziegfeld Follies, which was actually one of the biggest acts on Broadway in the late teens and early 20s. They were making real good money and amassing connections with some of New York's most elite. But this didn't stop Andre Syphilis from progressing, and by 1924 he had pretty much gone insane and was admitted to an asylum, and by the end of the year he had succumbed to his illness. And this left the Madame devastated, and to get over the loss of her husband, she began traveling. She went to upstate New York and New Hampshire and Vermont, and in particular she would frequent the home of Jack Henderson, who at the time was a pretty well-known silent film actor who starred alongside Charlie Chaplin in some of his pretty early films. The home? Well, it was nestled right in the countryside of Chesterfield, New Hampshire. And the Madame, she fell in love with the area. And by 1929, she had purchased her own 600-acre lot of land abutting the city of Brattleboro, Vermont. The infamous castle was constructed in 1931, and it was said without the drawing of blueprints. The Madame simply walked around with stakes and put them in the ground where she thought, she wanted her house to be. The first floor had a bar and 2 giant trees growing right through the roof. In the basement was a bistro and cafe for her guests with 5 to 6 tables draped in red linen and candles and the whole 9 yards. And the 3rd floor, well, that was the Madame's private quarters, accessible only through a stone staircase outside of the home. It was in this dwelling that some of New York and Hollywood's most elite would gather to party, drink, enjoy life, and enjoy nature. Arriving by train in Brattleboro, the guests would be chauffeured in the Madame's spectacular 1927 Packard through the windy and bumpy roads of Chesterfield up to her fairy tale-like oasis. First arriving on the premises, guests would have most likely been greeted by the Madame's personal swimming pond, and up around the windy bend to reveal the stone staircase, to the sounds of laughter, partying, and the Madame's record player blasting big band music. And it was said that during parties, the Madame would try to outdo her guests by dressing in wardrobe from her Broadway productions. It was even rumored during the 30s and 40s that infamous mobsters from New York were escaping up into the hills of Chesterfield to hide away at the Madame's property. And more rumors even circulated that she was running a brothel out of the castle. The grounds include a lake, a pond, several rivers and streams, and the Madame's own personal-built swimming pond. When not partying at her castle, Madame Sherri would be seen cruising around the back roads of Chesterfield, New Hampshire in her 1927 Packard, always by a young man in his early 20s. The Madame, pushing her 60s, would always be seen with 2 to 3 young men by her side. She was said to always carry a wad of cash, usually between her breasts, and sometimes she would even be seen cruising around the roads of Chesterfield with her pet monkey on her shoulder. She was eccentric, to say the least. By the late 40s, the Madame, well, her wealth had started to dwindle, and she was forced to move. And she never returned, except for once many years later to find the castle very badly vandalized. And by 1962, it had burned completely to the ground. Today, Madame Sherri Forest, well, it's a state park, and it's completely open to the public, and that includes the castle ruins and the old forest and all the grounds. I must say it's a dirt road and it's pretty bumpy to get to the parking lot, but it's a beautiful area. It's serene, it's quiet, and I can definitely see why she fell in love with the area. Brattleboro's only about 10 minutes from there, so if you do go to the state park to check it out, I highly suggest you take a ride over to Brattleboro and just walk around and check it out. It's a cool little spot. Let's get over to Madame Sherri's State Forest. Our journey to Madame Sherri's castle begins here in the town of Chesterfield, New Hampshire, and here's the center of town. As you can see, it is very small, picturesque, New England type setting. And on the road to Madame Sherri's castle, so this is the road guests would have taken and the Madame herself to get to her castle. And as I had stated before, it is off-road, seemingly. It's dirt and it's very bumpy, so make sure your car is prepared. Now here's the Madame's old swimming pond, which was constructed with the castle, pretty much as a swimming pool. It wouldn't have looked like a swamp at the time of her being here. It would have been nice and clear water and for swimming in. And this is the first thing you see after you park and you begin down the path towards the castle. Now heading to the old foundation. And as we make our way up the path, the stone staircase begins to come into view. And here it is, Madame Sherri's castle ruins. So to the right, we have the old staircase, which would have gone to her third floor bedroom, and the stairs on the left going to the front door. And it's kind of in disarray now, but you can kind of get a sense of what it would have looked like in her time. There would have been a railing going up the stairs on the right, nothing on the left, so if you had a few, you would have to be careful coming down. And after guests first arrived, these are the steps they would have climbed up to her front door. And up you go to the front door to one of Madame Sherri's wild parties going on. And you can see that the fire left this pretty devastated. There is no woodwork left at all. All that's left is stone and the basement foundation, which is concrete. And going up a bit, you can get a little aerial view of where the castle would have once stood, so you can kind of get a better idea of its size. And to the top right there, you can kind of see what looks like a little hole in the ground. And that's where the old stairs would have been going into the basement. Now walking around the side of the castle here, this is the side where the two trees would have been growing up through the home. And I will compare a photo from the time of Madame Sherri to now. And I'm going to hold a frame for a second here, and if you look as to what kind of looks like a chimney and those standing stones right there, that was actually carved into the foundation for a tree to grow through. And making our way to the other side, the back side of the castle now, this would have been all forest from here back. Very quaint. And here's the entrance to the basement, which in the time of Madame Sherri would not have been this crumbling old mess. It would have been a very nice bistro with 5 to 6 tables, draped in red linen cloths, with candles. There most likely would have been a bar, maybe somewhere around here. Perhaps over to the right more, where I'm going to flash my light in 1 second. Most likely in that back left corner, but there's so much debris here now that you can barely get back there crawling. But 80, 90 years ago, that most likely would have been walking area. And this is where the staircase would have been going up into the castle. But for a side note, we're just going to take a look at this beam just to show really how well built this foundation is. It's all steel beams and concrete, so she was not messing around with this construction. And here's coming out into the home from the basement, which would have been a bistro, onto the first floor, which this is where the bar would have been, in this area somewhere. And looking out, there would have been big windows here, and you would have just looked out into the forest. Now we're going to make our way to Indian Lake on the back side of the property. And this was part of the original 600-acre tract that the madam had purchased. And it's about a mile back into these woods, so I'm not going to get the whole walk here. We'll just skip ahead. And here's Indian Lake. After you walk into the woods about 15 minutes, this is what you will come across. Beautiful little swimming hole. I'm not sure if Indian Lake is just for namesake or if this was actually associated with Native Americans in some sort.